Hello, welcome to Big Rat TV. This is the Heard So Good podcast. Being an avid watcher, researcher, and now host of my own podcast, I've often wondered that my next guest hasn't been on something like this locally before. Today we're going to be interviewing a Cardiff legend, someone whose music and personality is revered all over the world, a leading face in the Oi, Skinhead and Anti-Fascist movements, and lead singer of the band The Oppressed. Ladies and gentlemen, Roddy Moreno. Let's go. Let's get into it. What's happening, Rod? Thanks for coming.
That's all right, mate. No worries.
Lovely to see you. Thanks a lot again.
My pleasure.
So, like all good podcasts, let's start at the beginning. Like, where were you born? Where were you brought up?
Well, I was born in Landrummy, in Cardiff, the east end of the city. That's why I got East End tattooed on my arm like a twat. But, yeah, I was born in 1956 when I sang Caddock School. Then when I St. Hilda's, fucking murder. There was no girls in St. Hilda's. Yeah. But we had Rummy High next door, which did have girls. So it was, you know. But yeah, growing up in Landrummy, you know, typical kid thing. Like you spent your days down the river, swings across the river, shit like that, you know what I mean? It was wonderful growing up, like. Yeah. And then round about the age of 10, 11, we started going to Top Rank, Saturday morning Top Rank. And that was like, I've been planning this book, Birth of a Hooligan. And that was going to be the introduction, like, you know, up until then, 10 years old, all you know is your mates on the estate. Yeah. But once we started going uptown, like, well, all of a sudden there was like gangs of kids from other estates, like, and that's where it all began, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we didn't particularly go out looking for trouble, but because we had the biggest gang, because Landrummy was the biggest estate in Europe at the time when it was built, trouble seemed to come to us, you know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone wanted to have a go at Landrummy, like everyone fucking hated us. But that's basically how we got started. Grew up, little kid, Landrummy, and then all these little kids from Landrummy migrated to town and more or less become sort of hooligans, you know what I mean? Then we discovered Cardiff City and it went another step from there, like.
So, how old were you when you first went to City?
I first went down when I was about 11, 12 years of age. I had a cousin who lived in Grangetown and he took me on a Tuesday night. Yeah. I can't remember who we were playing, but what I remember is there was this gang of about fucking 30 skinheads and these were like all 16, 17-year-olds, fucking men compared to us, like, you know, we were little kids. Yeah. But they were all there with the boots and the braces, sheepskins and fucking Levi jackets. And it just fucking blew me away. I couldn't fuck it. And I thought, that's it. Yeah. So fucking Monday, I went and had my hair cut. I stole my brother's hobnail boots that he used to wear to work. Stole my father's braces. Rolled my fucking cheap jeans up. And I became a skinhead. And my best mate, Willis, even to this day, he still tells the story of how I come fucking trudging down the street one day, making this fuck hell of a noise with the hobnail boot. And he said, fucking hell, Rod, what are you? And I said, I'm a skinhead, Will. And he said, yes. He done the same. Went out, got his hair cut, fucking got the gear. Yeah. And we all become little fucking skinheads.
So it was actually like going to Cardiff City?
Going down the city where they'd been in the newspapers, hadn't taken much notice, like I was only 12. But actually seeing a gang of them, like, it was like an army, you know what I mean?
So were you kind of into like the skinhead music before you...
No, I was becoming a skinhead, got me into the music.
So you actually went to the city, saw these guys and thought,
that's got into it and then discovered Skinhead Moonstomp and all this, there were Skinhead songs like, and so then I got into the reggae and that because I'd become a skinhead, like. Right. Up until then, the real music I listened to was my bigger brothers and sisters and they were into like, you know, Motown and Stax, stuff like that. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I was into soul at the time, but that was the only music I really knew. Yeah. Like when I was 10, the Monkees, I loved the Monkees. I used to fucking draw them everywhere on all my school books and that. I was infatuated with the Monkees. I wanted one of those fucking double button shirts that they wore. Could never get one, but...
So you've gone to the city, you've seen these guys, and that's you then, you're a little skinhead. And so were you the first one out of all your mates to become that?
Up Landrummy, I think I could say I was the first. Yeah. And Willis was the second. So, and then within a few months, you know, everyone was jumping on the same tip, like, you know.
So that's maybe like, you know, setting things up for the future where you were like the innovator, the leader kind of thing.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Of this movement, like.
And I was just a little 12-year-old wanking at the time, like. I thought I was big, but I was tiny. But that's what wearing boots does for you.
So did you carry on going to the football then after you become a skinhead?
Oh, yeah, Land Rummy, we'd have our own coach for the away games, like, you know.
Yeah.
We'd take our own coach, whatever
So it's just
city we play.
Lam Rumney on your own personal coach?
Yeah, we'd hire a coach and all the boys would go, like.
And you were all like kind of skinheads then as well, were you?
Well, most of the boys were skinheads. This is early days. Because what you got to remember is by 73, it had more or less died out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So by the time really we were like 15 and going to away games and that, we was all starting to grow, if you like. It was more like the boot boy thing. Longer hair, like, you know, baggy skinners, baggy jeans, like, you know, and boots. And by the time we were 17, it was like fucking stack heels and patch pockets, high waisters, like fucking this wide. Do you know what I mean? Like soul boys, you know? Yeah. But that was like, it was either, you couldn't be a skinhead anymore. It more or less died out. And if you wanted to go to town and pull women and stuff like that, you had to fucking dress the fashion of the day, like, you know.
But obviously, you still stayed into the skinhead music. You never switched music, but...
Oh, no, I always loved the reggae, yeah, until punk came along. Right. And I went to a punk gig, it must have been late 76. And I got the same buzz out of that as I was getting a few years earlier, being a little skinhead, like. Yeah. So whereas most of my mates, they'd all, like, moved on, got married, blah, 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 like, I decided to have a second teenage when I was 20, you know what I mean? And I got into the punk thing. That lasted until about 1980, when I got banged up. And I served a year. I got parole after 1 year. And when I come out, skinheads were back. So I thought, fuck this. And so I just got back into it again. You know what I mean? I felt right at home, like.
Yeah. So what you get banged up for?
Oh, fighting with students.
Fighting?
Yeah. Their fucking fault, but we took the blame because we beat them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We come out to CESTO. We'd been in a birthday party downstairs. And all these, it was their last year, like, they were medical students. And there was fucking hundreds of them. And so when we comes out, we're marching through the middle of them. They thought it was funny to take the piss out of the punk rockers. Yeah. There was only 4 of us and literally fucking 100 of them. But of course, fucking bang, bang, we fucking decked a few and the rest all backed off, you know? Yeah. And if that wasn't bad enough, we walked over to Catay's where all the residence was, because that's where the flat was we were living in. And as we walked past, there's another load outside there, and they fucking started. They're the ones, they're the... So we fucking battered a few more, like, and then the police turned up and we got fucked over. We'd have probably got away with a suspended sentence if we'd have been done then. But we was on parole, no, not on parole, on bail for 12 months. So when our case actually came up, it was right in the middle of, remember Quadrophenia? Yeah. The mods and the punks and the skinheads all fighting, front page of the Echo, don't let your son go to town and all. Well, our case came up right in the middle of all of this. And because we were described as punks, the judge made an example of us for something that had fuck all to do with us, like, you know? Yeah. So we had to give us fucking 3 years on 2 affrays. Wow. And I just praying he's going to say fucking concurrent. If he'd have said consecutive, I'd have fucking shit myself. Mm. And it was me, I'm happy I only got 3. So, well, like I said, only served 1, parole for good behaviour and...
Cardiff prison?
Huh?
Cardiff prison?
No, it's a piece of piss. Yeah. It's like fucking... The best way I can describe it is like fucking being back in school. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The screws are like fucking teachers, you know, you got to do what they fucking tell you or you get in trouble. Like, 90% of the time, it's just sheer fucking boredom. But the other 10%, you have a good laugh, like, do you know what I mean? Playing cards, playing pool, gambling for fucking tobacco and stuff, like. Yeah. And then when you come out, you forget all the boredom and you only remember the fun bits, like, you know? So when I look back on it, I think, yeah, it was all right. I had a laugh there. But never again, no.
So what year was that then? What was the year?
I went away March 80 and come out in March 81.
So by the time you got back out then, the skinheads were back. It was back in fashion.
They were all back, yeah. So I thought, yeah, I'll have some of that. And that's when I formed my first oi band.
So the oi band?
Yeah, it wasn't my first band. My first band was... Section 20. I think I got it on my hand here somewhere. S20, So Lonely. Nice. We were shit. We were like 4 punks who had no idea what we were doing. You know, I could play a few chords. I could teach Jarvis a few chords. We had a good drummer though, a guy named s.h.a.r.p. He was good. Singer was useless. And we must have played about half a dozen gigs, and then fell apart, like, you know. Never recorded nothing. But then when I come out of prison, I formed a band with my brother and a guy named Ed Fleming and a guy named Vince King. We were two punks and two skinheads, so we called ourselves a skunk band, Skins and Punks. And we were called Insanity Squad. Can you believe it? Same again, though. We played about 4 or 5 fucking gigs, and the band just fell apart, like.
But again, like innovating.
Yeah.
Two punks.
It was another step, another move on, like, you know.
Yeah, like that.
And then I remember one day in '81, me and my mate, we went to see the Oppressed play their first gig.
Right.
And I literally stood there and I said to my mate, I'm going to be in this fucking band. They needs me. Because they was all right, but they didn't have any sort of musical structure. Like I knew if you're playing an A, D and E goes with it, and you chuck in an F-sharp minor sort of thing. I knew what chords when we what chords.
So how did you kind of learn how to play the guitar and stuff? Were you self-taught or did you?
Yeah, when I was about 12, my mother bought me, well, she didn't buy me, she got me an acoustic off the Embassy catalogue. Remember Embassy? You had coupons with the fags, and you save up hundreds of coupons and you could fucking get free. So I had a, but then for the next like fucking 8 years, all I could play was Old MacDonald's Farm on one string. I really didn't take it seriously until the punk thing came along. Then I bought myself a cheap electric guitar, like, and just fucking practice playing 3 different chords, like. And eventually, once I got them 3 down, that was enough to fucking play in a punk band, like, you know.
Yeah. So you're in the band. So it's like you, your brother, your 2 mates. Then that was like the last band before the Oppressed.
Yeah.
And then you've gone to see the Oppressed. Then were they in Cardiff? With it?
And I said to my mate, I'm going to be in. I knew I'd fucking be in that band because they were skinheads. They'd fucking look brilliant, but I could see I could do much more with them, like, if you know what I mean, because I had more of a musical idea, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So one day I get home back to the flat, the ex-missus is there. She said, oh, there were fucking 4 skinheads on the door earlier wanting you. I said, oh yeah, I bet that's fucking the Oppressed. So I can't remember if they left a phone number or they just called back the next day. But I opened the door and they were there again. They said, oh, we want you to play bass for us because Ronnie, the bass player, he couldn't be bothered and he was leaving. So I said, well, I've been in a band with my brother and he plays bass, so why don't you have my brother on bass? I'll play second guitar. Yeah, all right, we'll try that. So that was like the Oppressed second lineup. Still had a different singer then. Yeah. So that went on for a few more months. We recorded 1 track up in London to go on the Oi Oi s.h.a.r.p album. So that was like our first release, like, you know, 1 track on a compilation album. Yeah. And then after that, the singer and the drummer decided they wanted to split the band up. They called a meeting and we met in town. We think we ought to split the band up. We're fed up with all that. Like, now, Ducky, who started the band up in his bedroom, he said, well, you can fuck off and I'm keeping the band. What about you? I said, yeah, I'll stay if you're doing it. Dominic said the same, my brother. So then I took over vocals. We got a new drummer in and wrote a complete new set, threw all the old stuff out and started from scratch, like. Yeah. I wanted to change the name. But by then we'd had this 1 track had come out, like, on this compilation album that had sold well. Yeah. So it was a bit of a waste, like, you know what I mean? Not to use it. Yeah. So we stayed as the Oppressed. And then from there, we recorded a 7-inch EP. Then we done a 7-inch single. Oh, we'd already put out a demo cassette. Then we done an album. So I wanted to do a 12-inch. So we had the set, like. So we recorded 3 cover versions. But the company that was putting the money up to produce them and sell them for us, they said, there's no money in 12-inch. You know, you won't make a fucking penny. Haven't you got any old demos? So we found an early demo from the first lineup, stuck that on the back, called it a mini album. Never did get the 12-inch out. No? That had to wait for the Rude Boys years later.
Yeah. So, like what was the label then? Who paid for all this? Did you make good money from it? And were they like fully supportive, or were you just...
Which label?
The one you put the mini album out and stuff?
Oh, well, we put them out ourselves, but we had to think it was Revolver Distribution Company.
That was your own distribution?
No, Revolver, we'd record the music, design the sleeves, give it to Revolver, they'd get everything made, pressed and sell it. Then whatever come in, they take 20% and whatever they'd advanced, you know, the press it, and then we get the rest.
Yeah.
So the first pressing, you'd make practically fuck all. But the second pressing, you already had the masters and everything done, like, so then you'd start making money.
Yeah.
We didn't make much, you know, we might have sold, you know, a few thousand copies of each one, but it was enough to fucking make us happy, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so like a band from Cardiff,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're selling music, it's win-win, like you're going.
And we had a good little crew. We all used to drink in the Cassagill, it's gone now. And used to get full of skinheads and punks and psychobillies, you know, all that type, like.
Yeah.
And it's funny, there's like steps on the way in, and you'd see people walk up the steps, take one look, and then fucking walk back down again. But it was the safest pub in fucking town. There was never any trouble. Anyone could come in, as long as they wasn't giving it the big I am, nobody would fucking bother them, like.
Yeah.
Whereas every other pub in town's full of pissed up lager loads, you know what I mean? But I don't know, people, they look at you and they just fucking make assumptions, like, but what can you do?
That's like a major thing with skinheads and stuff, and that's like a major thing with skinheads and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It's just the look. It's like so aggressive and.
Well, that's why we got into it in the first place. We thought, yeah, we look sad. But it also comes in handy because there are times like, if you're walking down the street and you're dressed fucking normal, there might be a couple of guys walking towards you who will give you grief. But if you're dressed like a fucking skinhead, they'll fucking walk past, like, because they assume you must be a bit of a nutter, like, you know what I mean? Even if you ain't.
So it's all works, yeah.
So it can keep you out of trouble as well, like.
Yeah. So like you're in Cardiff, you've got your band, your band's rolling, you're pressed, you're there, you are where you wanted to be. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
Like that. So how long were you playing for? How long were you guys together?
Well, we
Like,
retired in 84. What happened was every time we went away, like most bands, they'll go away with just one or two mates to help them with the gear, do you know what I mean? But because we thought of the Cardiff crew as like being the same as us, do you know what I mean? That was the old thing with the oi music. We was no different to the people who followed us. So we'd always take like either coach load or a van load with us. So of course, we get to where we were going. It could be Bristol or Leicester. And the people who were there fucking hated our fans, like, do you know what I mean? It'd be, we'd get off the coach, they go, oh, nice one, Rod, Ducky, Dominic, woo. And then as the boys got off, they'd be going, you fucking Welsh cunts. So every gig was a riot. There was always fucking murder. And it got to the point where the last two gigs, we didn't even fucking play. It went off before we even got on stage. And we'd end up with police escorts back over the border. So we decided, fuck England, we won't play there. It's all going to cause trouble. We'll only play in Cardiff. The next gig we done, in the Cassagill, Ely boys and Trowbridge boys go for it. So I looked at fucking Duck, he looked at me and said, fuck it. And we just packed it in, we'd had enough, do you know what I mean?
so that was the end of it, 84.
And that was the end of it in 84. And it wasn't until, I think it was 95, I was taking my boy to school and I noticed somebody had put all these fucking niggers out stickers with like National Front or British Movement on the lampposts all along by the school. So I spent the morning scraping them all off. I thought, well, what can I fucking do? I know, so I'll use the oppressed to further the fucking message, like. Yeah. So me and my two brothers at the time got back together, and the first one we done was the ANTIFASCIST EP, and then we released a Fuck Fascism EP. Just making a point, like, you know what I mean? You know, showing people that...
Doing what you can to
Yeah.
fight that.
I couldn't do much, but that was what I could do.
Yeah.
And that only lasted about a year. Same again, we played 2 or 3 gigs. The last one we played for Anti-Fascist Action in London. Yeah. There's this band, The Business, another oi band. He's gone now, the singer, Mickey Fitz. Nice fella. But they're doing a gig in London, round about the same time we're making these records. And Combat 18, you know, the neo-Nazi skinheads, boneheads we call them, we don't accept their skinheads. Anyway, they showed up, they said, oh, we're doing your fucking security. They said, no, you fucking know, we got our security, fuck off. They said, if you don't let us do your security, you won't have a gig, we'll smash the fucking place up. And they said, a fucking hobbit. Well, about 7 o'clock, fucking load of them turned up, literally smashed the pub to pieces, the gig didn't happen. Then it makes this big announcement, innit? No fucking skinhead or oi band will play in London without Combat 18 doing the security.
So where have they announced that through then? Just through
on the internet and that, you know, yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
So, of course, Anti-Fascist Action, who were London-based at the time, they phoned us up, they said, do you want to play in London?
So, yeah, they were
And they told us what had happened with the fucking combat AD. I said, yeah, we'll do it. I did take a baseball bat and a big piece of 4B2 with me, like, just in case. Yeah. But there was no need, because it was put on by anti-fascist action. The boneheads never come near. They'll go to places where they can get away with it, you know what I mean? But if they know there's going to be opposition, they never turn up. No. And never once in all these years have we ever had any of them come to our gigs.
You never had enough of them at all.
Well, they know our gigs are full of anti-fascists. Yeah. So they fucking...
And the proper anti-fascists.
Yeah. Especially on the continent, like, you know? Yeah. I remember we'd done one gig in Belgium. Same thing, threats all up over the internet. This gig will never happen, blah, blah, blah. We're going to smash it up, blah, blah, blah. So a band called Stage Bottles from Germany was supporting us. Now, Olaf, he's mates with all the fucking hooligans in his area, the football thugs, like. So he's telling them all about this. He said, oh, we'll come, we'll fucking smash the cunts in for you. So he got a coach load from Germany, innit? Gets there, don't see fuck all of any of the fucking Nazis, like. Yeah, so you can imagine the hooligans are all well pissed off. Where are they? I thought we were going to have a fucking rock. Well, they haven't come. They must have heard you coming, like. So they just got pissed and enjoyed the music instead, like. It wasn't their music, but they had fun, like, you know?
So, between 84 and 95, when you've made that kind of comeback then, what were you up to during them years?
Well, after the band finished, I formed my own record label.
Were you the Oi?
Oi Records.
So you actually started Oi Records?
Yeah. And I deliberately called it Oi Records because by then fucking Oi had been tarred with the fucking racist brush by everyone, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone assumed if you're a skinhead or you're into Oi, you're fucking... So I wanted to make a point that it wasn't like that. So I called it Oi Records and put out some... I think I put out about 14 releases on the Oi label. Yeah. And while I was doing that, I got in touch with some guys in America who were doing like modern ska, you know. They were influenced by Tuchel.
Yeah, because wasn't it like the ska come before the Oi?
Well, musically, yeah.
Yeah.
But on my label, I put out Oi Records first, and then I started putting out ska bands on my ska label.
So it's funny how people would have associated the Oi music with racism, when obviously the ska is like a perfect blend of black people and white people.
Well, people didn't know. All people, you can't fucking blame them. All I ever seen on the telly and in the newspapers was fucking racist skinheads there, Nazi skinheads there, Nazi skinheads the other. Because it's like sexy, it sells, you know what I mean?
So you think like the
But like, you know, they won't write about our skinhead band as a fucking anti-racist benefit. They don't fucking write about that.
Don't sell papers, does it?
So we've had to do it all ourselves and just keep pushing it, like.
So you started the Oi label then?
So I started my Oi label, sticking out bands from around the country. All the bands I put out, no one had ever heard of, like, you know, they were all new bands. Yeah. And it done well for about 4 years. And I had the ska imprint, putting out ska bands from America. But then sales started dropping off, and I was expecting my son, so it would have been around about 1990, 89, 90. I had to get a job as a fucking taxi driver. And then my mate Mark Brennan used to be in the business, the band I was on about, but he had his own Captain Oi Records, reissuing old Oi stuff, but on CDs, like. So he said, do you want to sell it to me? I can't remember what he paid me. I think it was $2,000. And I said, but I don't own any of the music. The bands own their own music. All I own, like, is the name and the cover designs. Yeah. He said, oh, that's all right. So he gave me $2,000. He took over, and then he started reissuing stuff, like, you know.
Did he do well after that then?
He done okay. As it goes, now he works with Cherry Red Records. Have you heard of Cherry Red? They're a really massive reissue company, like, and they do stuff all over the world. And they just offered me fucking, how much did they give me? 15 grand to buy my songs. Probably about 50 songs altogether I wrote over the years. So they give me 50 grand. So they control the songs. Now they'll do a much better job than I could of fucking selling them, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I still get royalties when they sell. And then they've done a separate deal for 5 grand for the publishing. So they'll collect the publishing, take their cut, and I'll get the rest.
Win-win.
So I made 20 fucking grand. And like, you know, 5 months ago, my daughter was born. So it came in right at the right time, do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, happy days. Yeah. Do you want 20 grand? Yes, thanks.
Yeah, win-win. So like, at what point, so was it after 95 Or was it before 95 that you went over to America then? 'Cause I know you went over to New York.
89, I went to New York.
Yeah.
I was taking a load of s.h.a.r.p records over with me for the boys who was on the album. And while I was there, I met a band called OPRESSED and a band called the Radicts. And then I put them out later as Skins and Punks Volume something or another. The Skinhead band on one side, the punk band on the other side. But when I got there, I didn't know him, obviously, like, you know. So the guy we went to see, a guy named Rob, he was in a band called the Toasters. But he picked us up, and we got a bit out of order. I was fucking paralytic. I called him all the cunts under the sun, just the beer talking, like, you know what I mean? So he put us up for one night, but then he fucking dumped us off on this guy, Andre, who was the singer with the Press. So I still didn't know fuck all about s.h.a.r.p, Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice. Yeah. And he takes me in a record shop, and on the counter there's flyers. It's like the crucified skinhead with Skinheads Against, but then it was an American flag with s.h.a.r.p through the middle, like. Yeah. And like an explanation, don't crucify us all for the sins of the few. And then explaining about original skinheads was into reggae, there were black people who were skinheads, and the ones you're seeing, they got fuck all to do with us, they're boneheads, they're a different fucking thing. And I thought, that's a fucking brilliant idea, that is. Yeah. So when I come home, I thought, yeah, I'll fucking promote it, like, you know. So I redesigned the fucking badge, so it had it was the Trojan helmet from Trojan Records, but I turned it around, because s.h.a.r.p fitted better when it was facing the other way, if you know what I mean, yeah. You know, in the plume. And I made like, I must have had about 100 badges made, loads of business cards and flyers. And we went up to the first London International s.h.a.r.p Festival. Took them all with us, handed them out to people, you know, fucking blah, blah, blah. Got to meet Prince Buster, my hero, for the first time. Yeah. I was like a kid at Christmas. I nearly wet myself. And the best part was, skip forward a bit, 8 years later, he's playing in Cardiff, and I'm DJing. Goes backstage, I got my son, he must have been about 8 at the time, 9, and my niece, who was a few years younger. Knocks on it, he opens the door. I said, Prince Buster, do you mind getting photos with the kids? He went, no, of course not. I said, I met you about 8 years ago in London. And he looked at me, he went, are you the anti-racist skinhead who gave me the badges and that? I went, yeah, that's right. Well done, boss, and all. I couldn't believe it. My fucking hero remembered me, like, after meeting me for like fucking 2 minutes 8 years ago. Anyway, that was another story. So where was I?
Just coming back from New York and promoting.
Oh yeah, so I come back from New York. That's how we started, like, just handing things out. Then little by little, I get letters from people saying, oh, what's all this s.h.a.r.p thing about? Sounds good, like. So I'd make up A4s covered in like badge size s.h.a.r.p badge things. So I'd send them a couple of them and say, take them to a badge shop and they'll make your badges for you. Yeah. If you put on a disco or a band, make sure you put the fucking logo on the top and Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice present. I said, in that way, you'll not only discourage boneheads from coming because they'll know they won't be welcome, but also Joe Public might see them and think, fuck me, I thought they were all fucking skinheads. I must have been wrong. Some of them ain't, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that was the whole idea, like, you know what I mean?
So still fighting that good fight against racism.
Yeah, yeah. So little by little, it spread all over, like, Britain and Ireland, chapters here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. Then it went to the continent. And, like, now, you know, you go to fucking Singapore or fucking anywhere, and you'll find s.h.a.r.p skinheads, like.
So you're directly responsible for bringing the s.h.a.r.p movement to the UK then? Mm. And do you think it would have spread that far anyway without you?
I don't know, I think,
UK, or?
Like when I seen it, it was just a New York thing.
Yeah.
You know, they were fighting like there was always boneheads on the Geraldo show and shit like that, you know what I mean? Mm. So they started it to try and show people we're nothing to do with them people, you know what I mean? Yeah. If I hadn't have gone there, it might have slowly took off anyway, do you know what I mean? Mm. But I think because it was Roddy from the Oppressed telling people about it, it gave them more of a reason to fucking take notice, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. SBS Salvage, South Wales' #1 vehicle dismantler and car part specialist, serving customers throughout the region for the past 10 years. You are sure to receive the very best price for your scrap or salvage vehicles. Just check out our websites, Scrap Car Cardiff, or even sbssalvage.com. to get an instant online quote. We buy all cars, vans, etc. Should you need any part for your car or van, then don't hesitate to call us, and our dedicated parts department will definitely be on hand to assist you. We also offer the very best prices for copper, brass, lead, aluminium and all other types of metals. Just give our friendly staff a call on 01446 421 034, Monday to Friday 9 to 5 or Saturday 9 to 1 to receive a price, or come down to our depot in the rear of the unit, 7 Redrup Business Park, Cardiff Road, Barry, CF63 2QW. We also don't just buy cars and sell parts. We also sell part-worn tyres at the very best prices at our depot on Robbins Lane in Barry, CF63 1QT. Call us Monday to Friday 9 to 5 on 01446 701 515, where we will assist you in any way we possibly can.
Yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, amazing. So, like, you've come back from New York, then you're doing this s.h.a.r.p stuff, and then, so is that the time when you thought, right, we're going to get the band back together because you've seen that racist stuff?
Well, no,
I'd done like a little bit of a like.
I'd done that. This was what, 98. So it would have been 7 years later. I get said, what was his name? He's gonna fucking hate me. Plays guitar with the business. Funny how they keep coming into it.
Yeah.
Steve Whale. He says, oh, they want you to play in Germany. I said, oh, we fucking split up years ago, haven't fucking played. He said, oh, you ought to do it. You can get a good couple of grand out of them. I said, oh, yeah. He says, yeah, because it's all we do. Every now and again, we'll fucking get together, play a big fucking thingamy, and I can come home and the missus can have a new kitchen or whatever, like. I said, all right, send me the bloke's details, like. So gets in touch with this fucking German fella. He said, yeah, we'll pay you 2 grand. I went, fuck off, we want 10. He said, oh, I can't pay you 10. I said, you're paying Coxsparrow fucking 10. Because my mate had told me this. Yeah. He goes, yeah, but Coxsparrow are fucking enormous, like, you know. I goes, yeah, but you're getting the oppressed and we haven't fucking played a gig in fucking a lifetime, like. Anyway, we settled on 5 grand, which I thought was wonderful. Yeah. Got the band back together. Every time I've reformed the band, I've always asked Ducky, the original member, like, who founded the band. Yeah. And he'd always say, oh, no, I can't, fuck, I haven't played for years. Luckily this time, when we got back in 2019, he said yes, so he's back in the band. Anyway, we went to Germany, played this fucking gig, amazing, playing to like 5,000 people in all. They fucking loved us. We were top of the bill on a Saturday night. In the afternoon, way below us, was the Bay City Rollers. Oh, I was so fucking chuffed.
So, like, are you big in Germany then? Is it like, you know,
Oh, we've played there, I think, twice since, the same big one. Yeah. But it's like, the big festivals, if you ask for too much money, see, they'll only ask you every fucking 4 or 5 years. Because obviously there's loads of big bands and they got to fucking pay them, you know? So maybe if we'd have went in for 3 grand, we might have played every year. But fuck it, 5 grand we wanted. On average, we earn up between like 1.5 and 2 grand for an ordinary gig, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's good money, though. But it's, plus they pay the flights, the hotels, the beer, the food, everything, like, you know? Yeah, nice. And then along the way, it means we can afford to do benefit gigs for fuck all, like, you know? Yeah. It's like giving a bit back, like, you know?
Still doing that.
In fact, we're playing Bilbao, September. It's at Bilbao Scooter Club. Have organised this big old day, scooter run in the morning, barbecue and everything in the afternoon, gig in the night, which we'll be headlining. And all the money raised, they're building a school in Africa. And I thought, yeah, that's fucking, you know, something fucking worth doing, like. Plus, we get a free fucking weekend away, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And we have people worshipping us on the stage. And yes, it's fucking nice. When you see people in the audience singing words back at you that you fucking wrote, like, there's nothing like it. It's fucking amazing.
Amazing. So, like, I know your music through, like, watching documentaries and stuff about you. I know your music's known all over the world. So I've seen, like, Germans talking about you, Americans, and obviously we spoke about Derek Diablo earlier. He's heavily influenced by you. And he's in Miami. So, like, what country are you biggest in?
It's hard to say, really. I couldn't fucking tell you. Like, we went to Argentina just to play one night. Yeah. And it was fucking packed out. Everyone fucking loved it. We played a massive festival in Mexico City. Same thing, we went there to play one night.
Yeah.
We've done fucking Singapore. Oh, the only time we've ever like toured, if you can call 3 fucking gigs tour, we'd like played Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. And Malaysia and Indonesia, they were fucking massive, like 5,000 people, really fucking big halls and that. Singapore's a small place, so smaller gig. And it's just fucking unbelievable. It was like, literally, I couldn't have gone down in the audience. They'd have fucking torn me to pieces. It was like, you'd have thought we were the Rolling fucking Stones. You know what I mean? Wow. It was fucking insane.
So do you find the countries that like love you the most are typically like the countries that have got like the most racism problems? So it's like trying to fight that, you know, racism. Then they kind of get into like the anti-fascist culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, of course, all over the world you've got the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everywhere we goes, you know, whether it's fucking South America, fucking Southeast Asia or Europe or Canada, say, they've all got their problems. They got their fucking little bonehead crews, like. But no, because s.h.a.r.p took off so fucking big, and now fucking anti-fascist action, they call it Antifa over there, like. Yeah. They fucking outnumber them now, so you don't ever see the boneheads anymore. It's like we won the battle, if you know what I mean. Obviously, they're still out there, dickhead racists, but they don't come to the scene spoiling things for other people now. No. Because they know they'll get fucking battered, like. Yeah. So they play their little own underground gigs quietly. You don't even know where they're going to be. You buy a ticket, and then on the day, you've got to phone this number, and then they'll give you a diversion place. Is it diversion? So they'll say, oh, meet at so-and-so train station. And so you all got to go there. And then from there, you'll get another phone call telling you where the venue is, like. Because they know if it gets out before, anti-fascist action, and they smash fuck over the place, like. Yeah. So we won the battle, if you know what I mean, with the boneheads. And slowly we're winning the battle with Joe Public. More and more people are coming to understand, like, not all skinheads are fucking racist, like. Like, thanks to Don Letts and other videos of the same type, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Explaining where skinheads fucking started, like. And if it wasn't for fucking reggae music and Jamaicans singing Skinhead Moonstomp and all of that stuff, Skinhead wouldn't have been what it was, you know what I mean? Even the clothes, like, you look at old rude boys in the 60s, they all wear half-mast trousers with, like, white socks. And that's what we done. We'd fucking all roll our fucking stay press up, white socks and brogues, pork pie hats. We got all that off the Jamaicans. Yeah. Ben Sherman shirts, they come with the Jamaicans. We didn't know, but it come from America's, like, Ivy League college type kids. You have a look at, what's his name? Potsy Weber and Ralph Malph. What was the programme called with the Fonz?
Cheers. Happy Days.
Happy Days. Yeah. We'll see all the knobs in there. They all wear Levi fucking stay press, white socks and Ben Sherman shirts.
Rolled up like.
And yeah, with the socks showing. So of course the Jamaicans was copying what was happening in America. They come to Britain with this gear. We thought, yeah, that's fucking smart. So we copied the Jamaicans. Like originally, the boots and the jeans and the braces, just a working class thing. But then he moved on, like the, you know, brogues and steak press, Ben Sherman shirts and Crombies, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And most of that style we took from the Jamaican boys.
And it's like, ain't it like the Jamaicans kind of like take, because they were kind of so embraced by the UK, they kind of taken some of our fashion now. So I know like Clarks are massive in Jamaica and stuff like that. Is that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Jamaicans.
Yeah, but like when we were little skinheads, they were black skinheads, you know, you didn't think them was black, they were just skinheads the same as you know what I mean? There mightn't have been many because, you know, it was numbers like, you know, for every fucking 10 people, there was one black fella. So for every 10 skinheads, there was one little black skinhead, you know what I mean? Yeah. But racism never come into it back then. We were just all fucking mates, like, we were skinheads, that's all that mattered, like, you know what I mean?
So do you think your fight against racism, is it the music that's inspiring you to fight that? Or is it because you're so anti-racist that you're into the music? Which way around?
No, it starts with the music.
Yeah.
We was just a skinhead band, the Oppressed. 1981. By 1983, all of a sudden, you'd had fucking bands like Screwdriver and Brutal Attack. out and out fucking Nazi bands, dressed like fucking skinheads, giving us all a fucking bad name. Then we went to Swansea. We played this gig, and two dickheads started regaling us. I suppose they assumed, oh, skinhead band, they'd go down well, like. So I stopped the set, warned them. I said, fucking knock that on the head. We got fuck all to do with that Nazi shit. You've been fucking told. Starts the next fucking song. It starts again, don't it? So I jumped off the stage, sparked one out. The Cardiff crew battered fuck out of both of them and threw them out of the club. But then when I got home to Cardiff, I'm thinking, we got to do fucking something. You know, we can't have people thinking we got anything to do with that shit, like. So all we done, I wrote one song, Work Together, and it's got one line out, black and white unite. But on the cover, we took a little black skinhead and a little white skinhead, and they like sat together like on the front cover. Well, straight away, that told everyone in the scene the Oppressed was an anti-racist band. We got fuck all to do with them, like. And so we only got into it because we were pissed off being made to look bad by boneheads, Nazi skinheads. So we were fighting back against that. That's why at first, when s.h.a.r.p, it was Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice, like. It was like a skinhead thing. We wasn't fighting for so much anti-racism in the world. We were fighting up for ourselves, like, you know what I mean? That we didn't want to be associated with them sort of cunts. But then from there, like, you know, as we got bigger and bigger and we got into anti-fascist action and things like that, it just we become like figureheads, if you know what I mean, for anti-racist skinheads.
But what a fuel to the fire, isn't it? You're making this music, you're outperforming this music, and at the same time, you're fighting racism.
Yeah.
It's like, can it actually, musically and performance-wise, does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, this is it. Like, you can come to anyone can come to a fucking Oppressed gig, and there won't be any trouble. You might have one or two twats fucking arguing with each other, do you know what I mean? Because they're pissed. But you won't find any of that fucking Nazi shit going on, or any of that big macho I am shit, like. It's just everyone's there for the fucking party, like, and to have fun. And that's how it always should have been.
Yeah, so, like, amazing, like, you know, to look back on everything, and who's to say where those kind of people, Combat 18, National Front, would have ended up if it weren't for guys like you. And
yeah,
you know,
well, I can't take much credit. Living in Cardiff, we've never had that sort of shit, you know what I mean? Really, they had got a tip to the boys up in London, anti-fascist action. They really started to fight back, because they were mostly football hooligans who hated fucking racists, like, you know what I mean? So when they did, there's fucking National Front selling their newspapers outside whatever football ground. They'd fucking pile down, they'd beat fuck out of them and rip all their books up. So of course, there's fucking 4 or 5 who decides now that they're never going to go selling books anymore. They don't want to get fucked up, like, you know what I mean? If any other bands put on a gig, they'd fucking turn out, smash the gig up, kick fuck out of any fucking Nazis they could find, like. They actually took it to the street. You had things like Rock Against Racism, which it had its place, it educated people, like, do you know what I mean? But I'll give you an example. Apparently, this is like late 80s, early 90s, there's supposedly a big fucking National Front or BNP meeting in Barry. And Rock Against Racism, that's right, and they'd announced that the meeting point was Barry Station, I think at the bus station. So there's fucking hundreds of Rock Against Racism people there with their placards and their banners, blah, blah, blah. A couple of AFA boys comes to the station, they says, they're not here, they're not coming here. They're half a mile down the road in a pub, the meeting's underway. If we go down there now, we can fucking have them, like. And they said, oh, we can't leave. You know, we told the newspaper we'd be here, you know, to demonstrate against them. He said, yeah, but they're not fucking coming. You're demonstrating. But it was more important for them to fucking look good in the newspaper than to go and have a fight, like.
With the skinheads, where they just piled in there.
Yeah.
Smashed them straight away.
So even though things like Rock Against Racism, it had a good thing, you know, it spread the word, you know, that lots of punks and stuff like that was against fucking racism. But it was the boys from Anti-Fascist Action who actually fucking went out on the street looking for the boneheads. And like say in 83, you know, you could go to a gig, there might be fucking 500 fucking Nazis in there, like. But within 2 years, you go to a gig, there might be 50 or 60 of them. So the rest of them have been frightened away, like, do you know what I mean? Knowing AFA would fucking be after them, like.
Do you think some of them just just fucking grew up anyway. And just,
Which is it. The vast majority were fucking teenagers, 16, 17.
yeah, so
They were
looking
just
for
kids.
the fucking identity, innit?
And, you know, a couple of years later, they think, oh, fuck, why did I get into that shit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there were a few nasty cunts who were proper hardcore fucking Nazis, like, do you know what I mean? And they're the only ones left, like. All the others, they fucking grew up and left it behind.
Any of them still about now? Boneheads that you know of?
None that I know of.
No?
I've never seen them. I've never had fucking trouble with any of them. You know what I mean?
No.
Like I said, living in Cardiff, it's fucking easy to say fuck fascism and that because no one's going to come knocking your door.
No. Yeah.
But it must have been harder being a fucking oi band in London, like, whereas...
Germany, maybe?
And in Germany, it was the same, like.
Yeah.
Well, we done a documentary once, and there's this German skinhead girl, and she said, well, when Skinhead first came, we thought you had to be a racist to be a skinhead. It wasn't until s.h.a.r.p come along, we learned the truth.
Giving them an alternative.
And like, now everyone in the scene, wherever you go all over the world, everyone knows there's like the skinheads and there's boneheads. Skinheads are sound as a pound, you know. Yeah. Just ordinary fucking people who like fucking reggae, like oi, and just want to have fun. And then the boneheads, they're the ones who dress like skinheads, but they're fucking horrible cunts, like, you know what I mean? Their whole life is blaming someone else for their problems, you know? Yeah. And we've never gone into that.
So, what do you think of, like, people like Tommy Robinson?
He's a cunt. I'm sorry. The man's a fucking twat. He's a fucking useless piece of shit. But he's a clever piece of shit. He's using all this bullshit about fucking race relations and all of that to fucking make himself wealthy, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's taking fucking subscriptions, he's selling this, he's selling that. He's making a fucking fortune. And all the fucking dickheads who are buying his stuff, they don't fucking understand this, you know what I mean? But the same, there's a small fucking hardcore of fucking racists, and 99% of them are just stupid. They're fucking... Like, the people like us, it's fucking obvious what's going on, do you know what I mean? Yeah. The reason you haven't got a job is because the government's fucked up the economy. And the government's fucking telling you through their newspapers, oh, it's because of these fucking immigrants coming over. And instead of going, no, you're a fucking liar, you go, yeah, blame the immigrants. Because it's easier to fucking blame the immigrants, you know what I mean?
That's kind of the thing I find that he does. He kind of jumps on something that everyone would be against. Yeah, of course we're against anybody grooming kids, but then he's like going like that, showing you that hand, but what he's actually doing with that hand is a different thing. I think there's a darker underbelly to everything that he
I don't really think he gives a fuck one way or the other. He's just found a way for making money. Yeah. Like all his court cases. As soon as he's got a court case, he's online, fund me, I got a court case. And all the fucking dickheads are sending him money, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like I kind of think those racist kind of people are the ones that's going to give him kind of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're too stupid to see through it, like, you know? Yeah. Which is why they're fucking racist in the first place, like. Because it's easier for them, like I said before, to have someone to blame for their own fucking problems. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got a job. Well, it's his fault then. Yeah. No, it's your fucking fault. You're thick as shit, you can't. No one will employ you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do you know about the Rude Boys?
Yeah, let's get into that, yeah.
Yeah, I had a ska band back in the 80s, late 80s. It was me and my two brothers again, and we had 3 sax players. I always wanted a sax, a trumpet, and a trombone. You get that proper brass noise, like. But with 3 saxes, they're a bit smooth, if you know what I mean. It's like a reed instrument as opposed to a brass instrument. Yeah. But we recorded half a dozen songs or whatever, put a record out, played some gigs, had a laugh. But our idea, we didn't want anything to do with two-tone, like. We wanted it to be like the Scatterlights from the early 60s, the original ska.
How come you wanted to break away from that two-tone, kind of?
Yeah, but like, I got nothing against two-tone.
Just wanted to be something completely
I just wanted
fresh.
to be the original, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, for instance, Madness recorded Madness, but the original was by Prince Buster. Yeah. And his version is 100 times better than Madness is, because they got more of a punk mix into it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Two-tone was like a mix of punk and old ska. And because I was an old cunt anyway at the time, I'd prefer the original stuff, like. So I wanted my band to sound like the Scatterlights, as opposed to sounding like the Specials or Madness. Because, like, all the bands around, the ska bands at the time, it was called the Revival. the two-tone revival, like, you know, in the late 80s. And it was hundreds of bands, but they were all sounding like a two-tone band.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to sound like an original ska band. And it's a shame. It lasted about a year, but we didn't manage to put out the fucking 12-inch EP on my label, mind. And then later it was reissued with a load of demo tracks as an album, like.
Yeah.
And over the years, I tried reforming the Rude Boys because it's my music, old ska and reggae. That's what I listen to. I don't listen to Oi much, you know.
Yeah. So it was Oi just like your vessel to be out and perform?
Yeah, yeah.
But then really you have...
When we started, early 80s, you know, I was still only 24, 25. I was quite into it. I quite liked Oi, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as I got older, same as punk, like, you know, you get too old to listen to that. And so all I listen to now is like 60s soul and ska, like, you know, rock steady and reggae, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But with the Rude Boys, I fucking loved reproducing what I fucking loved when I was a kid, like, you know.
Yeah. And
twice we've tried to reform. Twice we've had fucking problems getting a brass section together. And in the end, I said, oh, fuck it, I can't be bothered. I know I'm back with the Oppressed again. It's gone on the back burner. Maybe next year or the year after.
Bring something out, like. So where do you, now musically, you're back, so the Oppressed is still going and gigging, obviously, and...
Well, I retired in 2016. I'd taken a car back and I was walking back to Grangetown.
Yeah.
And I literally had to stop 4 times. I just couldn't fucking breathe. I was out of breath all the time. And it had been coming on slowly, but I'd been ignoring it. Like, so I went to the doctors. Turns out I got a OCPD. What is it? Obstructive chronic pulmonary disease. Basically, it means I got 50% lung capacity. So if I fucking walk at a normal speed, 20 yards, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So I just got to walk slowly now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't get fucked. So I thought, fuck it, packed up the band. Then 3 years later, I went to see my mate's band, the Prowlers from Canada. They were playing in Paris, and they dragged me up on stage. And I think they were playing Work Together, an Oppressed song. So I sung it with them and realised how much I'd fucking missed doing it, like, you know? But I didn't think I'd last the fucking gig because I could barely fucking walk up 2 flights of stairs. So I come back, booked a studio, went in on my own, blasted the Oppressed and just sang over the top of it. And I could sing for an hour, no problem. I'm assuming it's because I sing loud and shouty. I'm sucking air in all the time, like, so that keeps my lungs going, sort of thing.
Adrenaline going as well, innit?
So put the band back together. Where was our first gig? It's going to be in Paris. The day before the gig, they announced us in Paris lockdown for COVID. And then one by one, about 10 gigs in 1919 or 1920 went boom, 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 boom. They all went down. The following year, we had about another fucking 15 gigs, boom, boom, boom. They all went fucking down. But then about 2 years ago, it lifted, like, you know. And for the last couple of years, it's been okay, like, we've been playing again.
Yeah.
Mostly all around Europe. But we had a gig in Canada, which we fucked up. It's a staff story, but I'll tell you, you can always cut it out.
No, let's go with it.
Our drummer, he got a new fucking passport and he hadn't told me. So I'm booking all the gigs with his old passport. Round Europe, it don't matter. But Canada, we had to apply for fucking visas. So then they attach the visa to your passport number, like, you know, so it's scanned and it comes up that you got the visa. Yeah. We get to the fucking airport, they says, well, you 3 are okay, but he got the wrong passport. I said, what do you mean? Well, it's different passport number. He said, oh, this is my new one. Didn't I get it? I said, no, you never fucking told me. Yeah, I assumed you had it because we've been playing all around Europe. I go, yeah, but we didn't need fucking visas for Europe. Anyway, 2 hours on the phone. Eventually, they put the right fucking passport in, but the flight had gone. So we fucking missed the gig, like. Luckily, we're going back next April. So, yeah, we'll make up for it.
Oh, nice. So, do you get down the city much now, or?
No, I give it up, I did. Yeah. Like, my time was the 70s when I was a teenager, you know? Yeah. In the 80s, I used to go now and then, not too much. But then in about 96, 7, when my boy was about 6 or 7, we started, because my brother always went, like, he was into the football. So I started getting season tickets for me and a boy. And for about 4 years, we went to every home game, like. Didn't go away much. I took into Tottenham game once. And they fucking, I'd phoned the day before. I said, oh, can you put something on the scoreboard? Like, it was my birthday.
Yeah.
And I have time, I go, look at the board, look at the board. He goes, oh, fucking, and he's looking at it, sorry. And I'm saying, look at the board, look at the board. And he looks at the board. Happy birthday, Dad, lots of love, Paul Moreno. Well, he was so fucking chuffed, wasn't he? Like, telling all his mates, I've been on the scoreboard in fucking Tottenham, I have. But on the way in, could have caused a riot, accidentally. Yeah. They've marched us from where they parked the coaches up to the ground. It's like fucking thousands of us outside. And they're fucking going around searching individual people, like people they thought looked a bit dodgy. So I says to the guy, do me a favour, search my son. He went, oh kid, come here, put your hands up. He's frisking my son, like. I never thought the rest of the City fans could have thought that cheeky cunt, and it could have kicked off, like. Yeah. But I think they saw it was a joke, like. And my son go, what did you do that for? I said, well, he thought you were probably carrying a knife or something for me. He went, oh, fucking chuff the fuck he was. Yeah. But as I said, yeah, we went for about 4 years. But then one day he said, oh, do you mind if we don't go anymore? He said, I'd rather go out with my mates, like, you know. I said, no, of course not. Saves me a fucking fortune on tickets, like. And I kept on going for the rest of the season with my brother. But I realised I wasn't really enjoying the football. It was the day out with my boy, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I packed it in then. No, once in a blue moon. When my missus first moved here in 2010, I took her down because we were playing Millwall. I thought they might kick off, like, give us something exciting to watch. Yeah. And I got a mate, he's an Ipswich fan, disabled he is. He's in a, you know, electric chair, like. So I took him down. And I couldn't never stop taking a piss because Ipswich won. I threatened to push him in the tap if he kept on.
So where's your missus from then?
She's from Italy, my new one.
Italian,
yeah. We met in Bergamo, a concert in Bergamo.
Was she a fan of yours, or?
Yeah, she was an oppressed fan. She'd been writing before on our MySpace. That's how fucking long ago it was. And I said, oh, we'll be in Bergamo, like, if you want to come along, I'll put your name down, you know, you plus one, you know, bring a friend or your boyfriend or whatever. Yeah. And we met up after the gig, like, and we just fucking hit it off straight away. I literally fell in love with her instantly. Nice. I didn't think it could happen, you know, but it fucking did. And now what, 13 years later, we've got a 5-month-old baby, you know, we've been married 11 years, and life couldn't be better. Nice. I'm enjoying my life more than I have for fucking, since I was 16.
Amazing. Did you get over to Italy much?
Did
you get over to Italy?
No, not much. She went over with the baby, like, you know, for the mum and dad and their aunties and all the rest of it. But we got a dog and a cat, and she won't have them put into a home, like, so I had to stay home and mind the fucking animals while she went to Italy for 11 days. Yeah. So what's your plans for the future then, Rod? Where can you see yourself doing, and what do you want to do? I'll be honest with you, there's never any plans. It's just same old, you know what I mean? I can honestly say we've never asked for a gig off anyone, ever. People always come to us. Yeah. So we'll keep going until people stop asking us to play. Simple, like, you know? So do you think there's going to be a guy that comes to watch the Oppressed now that's going to take over you? Might be. One of the younger bands, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because, like, no, there's some fucking brilliant bands out there, pure anti-fascist, staunch, sharp bands, you know what I mean? Spreading the words like we started doing. So I don't think it's ever going to end. In fact, when we played Newport not long ago, there was these 2 kids from North Wales, only about 16, 2 little skinheads. And you very rarely see young skinheads these days, like. But, like, you know, you go to fucking Southeast Asia, South America, there's loads of fucking young skinheads, you know, still coming onto the scene. Yeah. It, like, died a death years ago, really, in Britain. Like, there's very few youngsters coming on. Just a load of old cunts like me, like. But yeah, I don't think it'll ever finish. It's like, you know, it'll have its ups and downs, you know what I mean? It'll always come back round, though. So when I'm gone, someone else will carry on doing what I've been doing. But I know, like, you know, there's lots of bands doing the same thing, you know. Yeah. Well, let's hope you ain't going anywhere for a while. I want to live to be fucking 100, mate. Well, I hope you do. So I can send my card back to King Charles saying, stick it up your ass, you cunt.
Well, thanks for coming, Rod.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an eye-opener and it's been amazing talking to you.
Yeah,
I
nice
really
one,
appreciate
Kerry.
you coming.
Yeah, it's been a ball.
Nice one.
And to all of you out there, fuck fascism before it fucks you.